Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video we are looking at the NECA Heroes of the Storm TYRAEL, who is a character from Diablo 3. So of course I had to have this guy. You guys know I like Diablo, and since I have Diablo I need a TYRAEL. But he also just looked freaking cool, so this was a no-brainer. So let's take a look at him. He stands roughly to the top of his head about 17.5 centimeters, maybe 19.5 to the top of the wings, and in inches that's about 6 3/4 to the top of the head and about 7 3/4 to the top of the wing, something like that. And he comes with a really cool sword. They did a really good job with this. Let's get a closer look at it so you can see the details. Very nicely done, lots of cool paint applications and really crisp sculpt work, so that's nice. And you can pop the bottom off so that you can get it into his hand without worrying about anything scratching, so that's very cool. Now as far as the figure goes, he has an incredible amount of detail. He's got just loads of paint. You can see all of these detail accents throughout all of the armor. Very cool. And then all of the armor itself has the two layers. We have the gold, and then we have the kind of like a gunmetal. So lots and lots of detail going throughout everything. Just everywhere. It's so nice. You can see on there for the scale mail, it's painted nicely. There's kind of like a gold and like a darker blackish, bronzish looking dry brush. Just very, very well done. The cloth is painted. The only paint issues at all are on this cream colored cloth where there's a couple marks here and there. Otherwise, it's almost a flawless paint job. It's really fantastic. Just looks so good. And then that light blue in there is nice and clean. Really pleased with this guy. And I should mention, all for a $20 price point. It's an incredible amount of sculpt. Brand new sculpt work on this guy. Awesome paint work. You just cannot beat it. I don't know how NECA does it. Honestly, 100% genuine. These figures are worth way more than we're paying for them based on current standards for the industry. It's just, I don't know how they're doing it, but it's great that they are. Really great. And now we have a lot of articulation to talk about. Of course, he's a fairly armored up and thick guy, so it's fairly limited in most places, but still, it's there and it is functional for the most part. So let's start with the head. We don't really get much out of the head because of the way the hood is shaped. We're mostly just going to get a swivel a little bit like that, so a little bit of up and down, but not too much. So that's pretty limited. I'll give it to him just because of the hood. It's okay. The wings are hinged, so you can fold them forward and back like that, and they have the swivel so you can move them around however you want to, like that. I would probably keep them just a little bit back and a little bit up because it would look pretty cool. Shoulder pads are not connected to the arms, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, and they're super flexible, so they're not going to get in the way too much. But here's the problem with connecting the shoulder pads to the torso rather than the arms, and it's kind of a common thing across like even import figures. When you raise the arm, you end up with that. So it doesn't limit the articulation, but it ruins the look of the shoulder pad completely. So it's always best, in my experience, to connect the shoulder pad to like the bicep or just to the shoulder itself and make it flexible so that when you raise the arm, the shoulder pad rotates with it. It's not like that, but it's still, since it's so soft, it doesn't get in the way too much. So we have the full range of motion for the swivel, and it's really stiff, but you can bring the arm all the way up horizontal to the floor, perpendicular to the figure. So that's pretty good. We have our bicep swivel, full range of motion there. We have an elbow hinge, which is really limited. This is kind of a bummer. So it's hidden inside the armor, which you can actually rotate around. You can rotate the whole forearm around at the elbow. And then you do get the hinge, but you're only going to get about 45 degrees, which is kind of a bummer. I think they probably could have cheated just a little bit and cut this out to give us a better range of motion, but the hinge is completely hidden, so if you're one of those people that's more about sculpt than articulation, you won't have a problem. If you're in the middle like me, you'll wish it was a little bit better range of motion, but it's not too bad. The hands are on ball pegs, so they can move around however you want them to. No problems there. Open hand on this side, sword hand on this side. Torso is on probably a double ball peg. It feels like a double. It might be a single though. So you can technically lean him to, not technically, you can lean him to the side. Either way, it is somewhat limited, but side to side, that's pretty good range. Forward and back, if you wiggle it around, you get about the same range of motion. This is a soft piece, even though it's connected at the top and bottom. You can still use all of the articulation, and it still maintains the look of the figure for the most part, so that's a pretty cool implementation there. These side skirt armors are soft, so you have the full range of motion of the T-jointed ball hinge hips. You can bring the leg forward, you can bring the leg back, and you can bring it all the way out to the side. And on top of that, you get a thigh swivel. It's just really tight. It's in there. There it goes. So you get a full thigh swivel. And then for the knee, we get, it's again pretty limited, about 45 degrees. And we do get the rotation there. And then for the ankle, we get a ball peg, which doesn't have the greatest range of motion, but it's enough. So like I said, everything is really fantastic about this guy, except his range of motion is fairly limited, which I think we can excuse just because of how awesome the rest of him is. For a $20 price point, I think it's more than sufficient, and I think you'd have to be crazy to not want to own this figure. It's just really, really darn cool, so I recommend it 100%. Stick around for the photos here at the end, guys, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. In the meantime, keep collecting.